James and his co-worker Adrian earn the exact same salary. Same company, same role, same paycheck hitting the same day every 2 weeks. They park in the same lot, buy coffee from the same machine, and sit 3 desks apart. Last month, both of their furnaces broke down within days of each other. Same time of year, same kind of problem, similar repair estimates, just under $1,500 each. Adrian called the repair company, scheduled the visit, paid the bill, and moved on. The whole thing was mildly annoying, the way a slow elevator is annoying. It cost him about 40 minutes of his week. James spent 4 days rearranging his finances. He moved money between accounts, pushed one credit card payment to the end of the grace period, and had 2 conversations with his wife about which upcoming expense could wait. He got the furnace fixed, but the weight of the situation followed him for a week after the invoice was paid. Same salary, same bill, completely different experience of reality. The thing that separated them was not discipline, not intelligence, and not income. It was a number that most people never track, rarely discuss, and almost never consciously try to move: their net worth. And within that number, there are 3 specific levels where the experience of having money changes completely, not gradually, not theoretically, in ways you feel on a Tuesday afternoon when something breaks. This video is about those 3 levels, what they actually feel like to cross, and why most people miss them entirely, even when the money is there. Before the first level, a framing that makes everything else land correctly. Income is the rate at which money enters your life. Net worth is how much has stayed. These are related but separate things, and the relationship between them is not what most people assume. A household earning $150,000 annually with a net worth of $30,000 is financially fragile. A single unexpected month could create a genuine crisis. A household earning $60,000 annually with a net worth of $200,000 has options, not luxury, but options. The ability to absorb disruption, make deliberate choices, and move through financial events without the cognitive tax that James paid for 4 days over a broken furnace. We are taught to think about money in terms of income, the salary, the raise, the promotion. But income is just water moving through your hands. Net worth is what remains in the vessel after it passes through. And it turns out the vessel has 3 distinct fill lines, 3 levels where crossing them changes how the water behaves, and more importantly, how you behave around it. Level 1, $100,000, buying back your mind. The first level is $100,000 in accessible net worth, not home equity that requires a transaction and closing costs to access, actual savings, investments, and liquid assets that could respond to your life if your life required it. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's longtime business partner, once said something about this number that is stuck with serious wealth builders for decades. He described the first $100,000 as uniquely difficult, almost disproportionately so relative to what comes after. His advice was blunt: do whatever it takes to get there, because after that, the dynamic shifts in ways you cannot fully understand until you experience them. The mathematics behind that observation are worth understanding directly. If you save and invest $10,000 per year at a 7% average annual return, reaching your first $100,000 takes roughly 7 to 8 years. During almost all of that time, you are doing nearly all of the work yourself. Every dollar in the account is a dollar you earned, chose not to spend, and directed toward the future. The investment returns are present but modest, meaningful but not yet decisive. Then something changes. At $100,000 invested at 7%, the portfolio generates approximately $7,000 per year in returns. That is money appearing without labor, without decisions, without your presence. The account is now contributing to itself in a way that begins to feel qualitatively different from simply making deposits. You have crossed from a phase where you are entirely carrying the process to a phase where the process has begun to help carry itself. But the more important shift at this level is not mathematical, it is cognitive. Research on financial stress and cognitive function consistently shows that the mental load of financial precarity, the low-grade background processing of whether you could handle an unexpected expense, operates like a persistent drain on thinking capacity. It is not dramatic, it does not announce itself, it simply occupies space that would otherwise be available for everything else in your life. $100,000 in net worth does not buy freedom from all financial concern. It buys freedom from that specific cognitive drain. It buys the experience James did not have during those 4 days with the furnace, the experience of a financial event being an inconvenience rather than a destabilizing weight. That is the first level. Not wealth, not comfort in any extravagant sense, a quiet mind. Before the second level, a question worth sitting with honestly, not optimistically, not with the number you feel good about, with the actual number you would get if you added up every account and subtracted every debt right now. Are you below 100,000? Approaching it? Past it? The answer changes which part of this video is most immediately relevant to your life, and being honest with yourself about it is more useful than any specific piece of information that follows. Level 2, $500,000 to $1 million, when your money gets a job. The second level is the range between $500,000 and $1 million in invested net worth. And what defines this level is something that sounds abstract until you see the numbers plainly. At $500,000 invested at 7% annual returns, the portfolio generates approximately $35,000 per year, without labor, without presence, without a single decision beyond the initial allocation. $35,000 is a meaningful annual income in many parts of the country. Your invested money is now earning what a full-time worker earns. It has, in a genuine sense, gone to work. At $1 million, the same return rate produces roughly $70,000 per year. That exceeds the median individual income in the United States. Your money now out-earns what a typical full-time American worker produces in a year, and it does this continuously, including during vacations, illnesses, weekends, and every hour you are asleep. This is the level where the phrase financial independence stops being aspirational language and starts being something you can see on the horizon. You may not be there yet, but the destination has become visible, and seeing it changes something in how you navigate daily life. The changes at this level are subtle enough that many people who cross it do not immediately recognize them. It is not a dramatic transformation, it is more like a shift in posture. James, at this level, would sit in a difficult meeting at work with a different internal experience, not because anything external changed, but because some quiet part of him would know that he has a real choice. He could walk. He would not today, but he could. And knowing that, even without acting on it, changes how he carries himself in every negotiation, every conversation, every moment where his self-respect is in tension with the demands of employment. The trap at this level is one that the research on wealth and behavior has documented extensively. It is called lifestyle inflation, and it is the reason people with genuinely impressive incomes and theoretically sufficient savings never cross the second level, despite earning enough to do so. Every income increase carries with it a gravitational pull toward equivalent spending increases. The raise produces a nicer apartment. The bonus produces a newer car. The promotion produces an upgraded version of nearly everything. Within months, the new baseline feels like the minimum. The portfolio never grows because every dollar of growth gets drafted into maintaining an expanded lifestyle. The second level is not about earning more. It is about maintaining the gap between what you earn and what you spend wide enough and long enough for compounding to walk through it and do its work. That requires resisting a pull that is not just psychological, but social, a pull reinforced by the spending patterns of everyone around you who is doing the same thing. Level 1 removed the fear of the emergency. Level 2 removes the fear of the employer, the specific anxiety of having no real alternative to wherever you currently work. Notice the pattern. Each level does not add something, it removes a fear. And the fear it removes is the one that was quietly costing the most. Level 3, $2.5 to $5 million, buying back time. The third level operates on a principle called the 4% rule, which emerged from research designed to answer a specific question. How much can a person withdraw from an invested portfolio annually across a range of historical market conditions without running out of money across a multi-decade retirement? The answer the research consistently produced was approximately 4% per year, which produces a simple and useful calculation. Whatever you spend in a year, multiplied by 25, gives you the portfolio size at which your investments can sustainably fund your life indefinitely. If your life costs $40,000 annually, your number is $1 million. If it costs $80,000, $2 million. If it costs $100,000 per year, you need $2.5 million. At $5 million, a 4% withdrawal rate produces $200,000 annually, a figure that funds a genuinely comfortable life in almost any geography without requiring further employment. This is the level where time changes its relationship to money. The question that has organized most of adult life, how do I generate enough income to fund my existence, loses its authority. What replaces it is a different and more personal question. How do I want to spend the hours I have? Not as a hypothetical, as an actual decision that is now yours to make without the constraint of financial necessity. The research on happiness and money at this level produces a finding that is initially counterintuitive and then deeply clarifying. For people who are already reasonably content with their lives, additional wealth continues to increase well-being with no apparent ceiling. More money means more options, more control, more time, and more of these things consistently correlates with more happiness. But for people whose unhappiness has roots that money did not cause, the research shows that financial relief helps up to a point and then stops. Because money cannot purchase its way out of problems it did not create. The people who reach the third level and remain miserable are almost always the ones who believed the number itself was the destination. The people who reach it and feel genuinely different are the ones who understood that the number was the mechanism for acquiring something else, control over the hours of their life. Level 1 bought back a quiet mind. Level 2 brought back meaningful options. Level 3 buys back time, the one resource that does not replenish, cannot be earned again, and cannot be stockpiled. That is the architecture of the three levels, not the accumulation of things, the progressive removal of constraints. Imagine James in a different version of that furnace story. Same house, same breakdown, same $1,500 estimate, but a different account balance. He schedules the repair, pays the bill, and the conversation with his wife that evening is about where they want to travel next year. The furnace gets 1 minute of his attention, and then it is done. That version of James is not a different person. He does not have different values or different discipline or different intelligence. He is simply further along a number line. And the number line has 3 specific points where the experience of being on it changes. The first is closer than most people think. The slog to 100,000 is genuinely the hardest stretch, the one where the math offers the least assistance and the progress is almost entirely powered by personal effort. It is also the stretch where most people stop, because it is slow and unglamorous and the benefit feels invisible until you are past it. But the furnace story has two versions, and the one where it costs 4 days of stress versus 40 minutes of mild inconvenience is determined entirely by which side of that first line you have crossed. Pick your level. Not the one that feels inspiring as a destination, but the next one, the one that is actually within reach from wherever you are standing today. Then do the boring, automated, unimpressive thing that moves you toward it, consistently, without stopping. The math does eventually start helping. You just have to be there when it does.